We're calling this meeting to order at 5:31. I'm Ellen Nash. I serve as chair of the Leon Williams San Diego County Human Relations Commission, and we want to welcome you to our September 19th, 2023 Human Relations Commission. This meeting will begin now, and our plan is for this meeting to end at 7:30. As you'll see with the agenda, we have time certain length of time, and we hope that we all honor those time commitments. Want to welcome you to the newly built Southeastern Live Well Center. As a lifetime resident of Southeast San Diego, one of the most vibrant and diverse communities in San Diego, with views of San Diego nowhere found in any part of San Diego. I would like to begin this meeting with some special comments. As chair of the Leon Williams Human Relations Commission, it is my responsibility to ensure that we create a safe space where we promote our theme and our mission, which is to promote positive human relations. And I wanted to just describe some things that we want to set in place with regard to ensuring that we as commissioners promote positive human relations in these meetings. And I want to say to each commissioner, at this point going forward, if there is a comment made by another commissioner that you are not comfortable with, we want you to raise your hand and let me know. Get up out of your seat and come over to me or our vice chairs and let us know. And the process will be going forward is we will pause the meeting and we will huddle and we will ensure that if those comments are not aligned with our mission, which is to promote positive human relations, then we will go ahead and begin the bylaws code of conduct process. It will include up to a vote, if that has to be taken, with regard to censor, removal, or retain. I hope everyone understands that's what we are going to expect going forward. If any one of you feel uncomfortable, please let us know. It is our responsibility to ensure that we create a safe space for everyone in this room. And if anyone is hurt and harmed, it harms the commissioners. It harms me, because you will walk out of here traumatized, hurt, and in pain. And that is just not going to happen on my watch. Thank you very much. Roll call and introductions.
Thank you, Chair Nash. I'll call the roll. Just note for the record that Commissioner Pedro Anaya, Commissioner David Garcias, Commissioner Jordan Harrison, and Commissioner Joseph Allen Rianto Ramirez are all absent from today's meeting. Commissioner Cinnamon Clark. Present. And if you could grab the mic and make sure you speak into the mic during the meeting so we can make sure we hear you on the recording and that we can get it all recorded. All right, thank you. So I'll do it again. Commissioner Cinnamon Clark. Commissioner Kate Clark.
Present.
Commissioner Estela de los Rios.
Present.
Uh-oh, just be able to push it out. Yeah. Right. Okay. We got you. Commissioner Eleanor Evans, and she noted she was running a little bit late. Commissioner Sarah Farouk. Commissioner Rodney Fowler Sr. Commissioner David Garcias is absent. Commissioner Jordan Harrison is absent. Commissioner Taha Hassan. Commissioner Dennis Hodges. Commissioner Adim Ishmael. Commissioner George Corey. Commissioner Nicole Murray Ramirez. Chair Ellen Nash.
Present.
Commissioner Fabian Perloff. Commissioner Gina Roberts.
Present, sir.
Commissioner Milan Shah, Commissioner David Vance. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Ellie Santos. All right, all present.
We have two new commissioners, Commissioner Fabian Perlove, pronouncing your last name correctly? All right. And we also have our student commissioner, Milan Shah, here. Let's just kind of welcome them with a clap. And if you could just give us 1 minute, just to share.
Okay, so thank you, everyone. It's a privilege to serve on the Human Relations Commission and to promote the positive human relations and respect and the integrity among our people in San Diego and our communities. I'm here to represent the Anti-Defamation League. And in that capacity, I will also, work towards stopping the defamation of the Jewish people and ensuring, justice and fair treatment to all. I wish my community members a happy Rosh Hashanah, and thank you again for inviting me to be a commissioner.
Hello, my name is Milan Shah. Hello, my name is Milan Shah. I'm an 11th grader at Westview High School. I'm the president of my school's film club and a member of the tennis and mock trial team. I have a passion for supporting my community, and outside of the school, I am a youth attorney at the Escondido Police Department. I present cases in front of a judge and a jury. I'm also a fellow for the UC San Diego Youth Ambassador and Learning for Equity program. I appreciate how diverse our San Diego community is, and I'm a founder of Real Voices, which is a youth storytelling project. I'm very happy to be a part of the commission, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
We will now have land acknowledgement by our own Commissioner Angela Elliott.
Thank you. In recognition of and respect for Indigenous peoples as traditional stewards of the land that we now call the County of San Diego, for millennia, the Kumeyaay people have been a part of this land. This land has nourished, healed, protected, and embraced them for many generations in a relationship of balance and harmony. As members of the San Diego County community and inhabitants of Mat Kumeyaay, we acknowledge this legacy. We promote this balance and harmony. We find inspiration from this land, the land of the Kumeyaay.
Thank you. Now we'll have rules of order by our own Director Andrew Strong.
And thank you, Chair Nash. So we'll read a couple of sections out of the rules of order and code of conduct, sections 2 and 3, for our commissioners that pertain to this meeting. Be respectful of others who are speaking. Remain on mute until it is your turn to speak if you are online, and avoid interrupting others. Raise your hand to be called on behalf of by the chair. Do not speak until the chair has called upon you. The chair has also given opportunity and space for what she said at the beginning of the meeting. If you do feel like something's been offensive or disparaging comments, feel free to stand up, speak up, and let us know. Refrain from discriminatory and harassing remarks in the meeting. Definition of discriminatory or harassing remarks includes legally protected speech in a commission meeting that disparages an individual or group based on their perceived race, religion, sexual orientation, ethnicity, gender, disability, etc., or other hate speech, but does not rise to the level of criminal threat or inciting violence.
Thank you. We'll now move to agenda item 5, the presentation on the illegal and inhumane detention of migrants that occurred in San Ysidro and Wacomba during the lifting of Title IV. And that presentation, the duration of that presentation is 20 minutes, and I would love to have our own Commissioner Kate Clark to introduce the presenters. Thank you.
And Dr. Strong. I think as folks recall, several months ago, actually back in May of this year, we talked about having this presentation. So I'm really grateful for Director Strong and Nash for actioning that request. And I'm even more grateful for the community members that are present here today, who not only back then in May, thank you. not only back in May, heeded the call to the need to provide humanitarian assistance to those that were detained at the open air detention sites between the border walls, but in fact continue that work today, which is currently evolving. So I know that the focus of the presentation from the community members that are here will be on the situation that played out in our community today, but I did want to acknowledge the challenges that we are currently facing in our community now. So I hope that our commission members can really learn from the insights that these community members and advocates are going to share, and also learn incredible ways that we as a commission can consider taking actions and uplifting, and of course, wanting to promote the positive human relationship for all folks in our community. So it's my privilege to introduce Lillian Serrano with the Southern Border Communities Coalition. She's the director for that coalition. Flower Alvarez Lopez with Universidad Popular, and Paulina Reyes, and she is the San Diego Immigrant Rights Consortium chair and also an immigration attorney with Immigrant Defenders Law Center.
Good evening. Yes. Good evening. My name is Lilian Serrano, and I'm the director with the Southern Border Communities Coalition. We are a coalition of organizations from San Diego to Brownsville, Texas, with offices in DC, Texas, and me here in San Diego. Our local affiliate here in the region will be the San Diego Immigrant Rights Consortium, and you will be hearing from them a little later today. First, I would like to start by really thanking the leadership and all the advocacy from Commissioner Kate Clark for ensuring that we're all here today, able to have this very timely conversation. Can you use the mic?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that works. Like I was saying, we really want to, acknowledge that it was Commissioner Kate Clark who first gave us or approached us and gave us the opportunity to come and have this conversation. I know that, immigration can be very wonky and very, especially when we start talking about the policies. So I'm going to try to keep it very brief. I will also limit my remarks to only policy violations that we saw on the or by part of Border Patrol or CBP, Customs and Border Protection. And then I'll let my compañeras here actually speak on the humanitarian response to what we were seeing. Next slide. Thank you. Just really briefly, and always when speaking of violations of policy, it's a good reminder of knowing why the policy exists. And on our own account, since 2010, in the hands or in CBP custody, there has been at least 24 deaths. This includes the deaths of children as little as newborns, and also some elders. Because before 2015, Customs and Border Protection didn't have any sort of policy or standards on should they be treating people in custody. In 2015, the agency created what is known as the National Standards for Transport, Escort, Detention, and Search, or short for TETS. And I provided a link. I know we don't have time to, like I said, go into in depth, but it will be there if you want to learn more about what that means. I will also be sharing some of the information that we as SBCC file in May 14 of this year to the Office of Civil Rights and Civil Liberties, which will be the Department of Homeland Security office in charge of, once again, opening investigations when there is policy violations. As far as we know, as of today, there's an ongoing investigation against the San Diego sector of the Border Patrol for the violations that I'm about to present. Next slide. So I will also, in my remarks, once again, will be focused on April and May of this year, but it really started long before that. It was November of last year when we first started encountering small groups of individuals, migrants, who were just roaming this area in between the two border walls. So for those of you who are not familiar with the border wall infrastructure, here in San Diego County, we have 2 layers of border wall, both of which are on U.S. territory, both of which are in San Diego County. I know it gets a little confusing. This area is known by Border Patrol as the enforcement zone. This is an area, especially in San Diego County, that is heavily policed by officers. It is heavily policed by multiple technologies in which we know that Border Patrol has full control of who is allowed to be in this enforcement zone. It was very, for us as advocates, it was very confusing and surprising to see migrants just walking around in that area, because that is not something that you saw before. The picture that you see right now in front of you is actually of a group of migrants. Once again, once we knew that there were migrants in that area, we started approaching them, asking them questions. Why were they there? And they started sharing with us that some of them had been there for 2 to 3 days without any access to any meal. And actually the picture, once again, is showing a group of 4 migrants that had disclosed they had been in the area for 3 days, and they were so hungry that they started eating those leaves that you see in the picture because they had no access to food. Next slide. In April 12th of this year, we started seeing Border Patrol start concentrating individuals in this area. This area, and once again, you can see the primary wall in the background. The picture doesn't allow, but the person taking the picture was standing in front of the secondary wall. And Border Patrol started concentrating migrants in an area known as Whiskey 8. Whiskey 8 is right behind the water treatment plant in the San Isidro area by Dairy Mart. If you're familiar with that region, once again, all of this San Diego County. And first we started seeing a small group, primarily males, and they were spending here 2 to 3 days. As you can imagine, we were in the area trying to document the situation, but as any human being, we couldn't just sit there and watch people starve to death on US soil. And like I said, we will talk a little later about the humanitarian response. Next slide. Next. Within a matter of less than a month, that's how fast the encampment grew. It went from only a handful of primarily single males to anything between 400 to 500 people. And I say people because we saw kids as little as 3 months old and elders as old as 85, I think, definitely in the late 80s, all from all over the world, who were being concentrated once again in this region by Border Patrol. We know by their own Border Patrol accounts that there was a second encampment that is not pictured here, and it is because from the public side, it's very hard to access, or I will say impossible for us to access, that had about 1,000 people. So a total of 1,600 individuals being held in this open air detention sites by Border Patrol, averaging 5 to 7 days in this area. Border Patrol was providing absolutely no resources in a daily manner. When, and once again, it was sporadic, but when they did show up with resources was 1 bottle of water and 1 granola bar per individual. Next slide. Our advocates were in the area, and these pictures are from the days leading to the lifting of Title 42, which was a policy that actually closed the border to asylum seekers. We see here, once again, kids being transported. Actually, in this corner, you see a child that is being escorted to a Border Patrol vehicle to be taken to the emergency room because he was having seizures in the area while he was waiting. We also saw multiple medical emergencies. We saw, a Vietnamese woman who was having some sort of allergic reaction to we don't know what. Actually, we had a group of medical doctors and nurses who volunteered their time to go and keep an eye on the situation and actually recommended for her to be taken to the hospital. After multiple attempts to get Border Patrol attention to get her medical attention and fail, we actually opted to just call 911, and she was actually rushed to the hospital. Same with multiple people who had injuries, because getting into that area, a lot of them had to climb a wall. Others had to use very rough terrains, who had a lot of injuries on their bodies. And some of those injuries were getting infected, and that's what you see right there. Also, just really quick, the pictures of the bracelets. So Border Patrol started marking immigrants when they were arriving by putting bracelets on their hands, each day corresponding to different day. And that's how also we were recording how long people were there before they were being transported and processed by Border Patrol. Next. Very similar situation was happening in the Jacumba Desert, also San Diego County. And on the main difference is that there's no border wall, but the area was fully controlled by Border Patrol. They had full control of who got to come in and out of the region. The individuals there were exposed to the elements, to the desert. And once again, no supplies, and at times just one bottle of water. Next. UCSD was able to mobilize their research team very quick, within less than 24 hours notice, and actually talk to a lot of the migrants. And, I'm not going to go into all the response, but as you can see, migrants self-reported that none of their basic needs were being met. We're talking about no food, no water, no restrooms, not clean area, and being exposed to the elements, including the desert. Next. Here, I just briefly summarize the TEDS violations. By national standards, Border Patrol has to provide medical assistance, which we saw little to none. Regular meals to adults, once again, a granola bar, even by CBP or Customs and Border Protection standards, is considered a snack, not a full meal. And meals to children and pregnant individuals need to be provided every 6 hours. There were not any meals being provided. There was no adequate water. One bottle of water in the desert is not adequate. Restroom facilities, I didn't show in the pictures, but there was in the Whiskey 8 area, there was one portable restroom for 600 individuals that was being cleaned once a week. In Jacumba area, there were, I believe, 2. No, there was no hygiene, and obviously no no showers being provided, and individuals being there for 7 days completely violates the 72-hour standards by CBP. Now I'll pass it on to Flower.
Hello, everyone. My assignment today is to cover the open air detention sites in San Diego, and I'm supposed to do that in less than 5 minutes, so this will be fun. It's difficult to describe and put into words what we have seen on the front line. We have seen suffrage close up. We have seen despair, pain, and starvation. I'm with Universidad Popular, an organization out of North County, San Diego, and we're part of a vast network of freedom fighters. And we have been part of this effort to prepare for the lifting of 42 on May 11th, actually. I arrived to Whiskey 8 midday, and I didn't have the heart to leave after I saw with my own eyes the open air detention site at Whiskey 8. I ended up camping at Whiskey 8. I was the only person that stayed on site 24 hours. I never left. And afterwards, I ended up supporting all the other sites. So I've been the only person that has been able to work the wall on the Whiskey 8 side and also in Jacumba. I've been co-leading the efforts on the ground and on the front line with our friends at American Friends Service Committee, AFSC's U.S.-Mexico Border Project. Unfortunately, my colleagues at AFSC couldn't make it today, and I hope I represent our experience well. We have been holding down the border wall and tasked with observation, documentation, providing humanitarian aid, and elevating our concerns through advocacy. We have been leading the sites in San Diego. We have Spooners, which is the men's camp, the one that Lily said we're not able to access. There's Whiskey 8, the camp where you see all the families and the women and children. We have Whiskey 4, which is also difficult to access. And the Jacumba side, we have O'Neill, Willows, and Boulevard Tower 177. I have been at every single site. I know this is a lot of information to take in. And the best way to understand what we're talking about today and what I'm talking about and what we are presenting is to see it with your own eyes. My call is for you all to tour the sites, to go in person and see what we see. And I do have some asks for the commission and those in the audience today. Some of it is to hear our cries, visit the sites, and come together to support. There's many things that the commission can do. You all can come together and write a letter to Border Patrol and let them know this is unacceptable, not just because it's on US soil, because it's on our home. San Diego is our home. I'm from San Diego. I grew up here. I decided to raise my family here, to go to school here. This is my home. I hope those of you that are seeing these pictures and listening to us give you the encouragement and the motivation to activate on a county level. Everyone has their role and everyone has their part. Our team was at the border in San Diego on US soil, saving lives without the help of government and without the help of many of the agencies that should have been responding. So I hope, I'm gonna stick around to answer questions. I hope many of you all are encouraged to speak to our team that's been on the ground. Roberto, if you can raise your hand real quick. Robert and I have been out there to this day, still feeding the open air detention sites. If you can see, we're talking about real open air. My boots are full of dirt. These used to be my docs that I used to wear to hang out. Now they're my border shoes because of the dirt. So we hope that you all do come in person and figure out what your part and what your role is in this. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it on to Paulina.
Thank you, Flower and Lily. Sorry, I'm a little sick. Thank you. So I am an immigration attorney, a managing attorney with Immigrant Defenders Law Center. I am also the chair of the San Diego Immigrant Rights Consortium and also part of the California Welcoming Task Force. Thank you to Lily and Flower to really, show pictures, but honestly, as Flower mentioned, the ask is to go there on the ground. We're not that far away from the border wall. It's our home, San Diego. We invite everyone to join and to see what the needs are there. Our ask really is to be in line with the mission of the commission, which is to promote the human relations and respect and integrity. We cannot do that unless we're there providing the support, advocating for better resources, advocating for better care. This is unacceptable. Again, these are pictures. This captures one day. It's been happening for weeks. It ended and it started again. We wrote the letter back in May as a way to plan ahead and see where we can, do. So this is very timely in the sense that it continues to happen. We believe it's going to continue. We have the street releases. I know that's not necessarily part of the agenda, but again, part of a humanitarian response and need that's needed. So in line with the commission, the action plans, really the advocacy for policy and change to ensure that this doesn't happen and doesn't continue to happen. Also increase the accessibility and transparency in the county government. As Flower mentioned, we have these agencies and the ability to go and support. This is in our county, and it should not fall on these individuals, nonprofits that are pulling resources from the community when government officials represent the community. We should be able to come together and do all that. Yeah, so we'll stick around for any questions. Again, thank you to the chair, Commissioner Kate, for allowing us to present this issue. Thank you.
Testing. Let's give these three young ladies a hand. We're going to ask for public comment.
We're going to take public comment first, and then we'll go to the commission comments. We have three members of the public wishing to speak on item number 5. Patricia Mondragon. And if you could, Patricia, come on to the mic. Thank you.
I also to reiterate and take the
You're up here.
Minutes on your public comment. Thank you.
My name is Patricia. Lifelong resident of San Diego County, raised here in the urban core in North Park. My parents, they arrived in the 1960s from Mexico.
And I want to thank Commissioner Kate for giving the opportunity today to address the open air detention sites and the resulting human crisis, as well as what is happening on our streets in San Diego right now, today. And I know that's not on the agenda, but it is related. When Border Patrol is back at the border, it's a group and
Well, we need to make sure it gets into the mic so people can hear it online. Thank you.
I think this one works. Thank you. I think this is going to work. What we're seeing is we're seeing hundreds of asylum seekers arriving at our border, and they are on US soil. They are being detained in deplorable conditions by Border Patrol. For, as my colleagues mentioned, for 5 to 7 days in May, they are still being detained for several days. By the time they make it through processing, which is not an easy process, and arrive to San Diego, at this point, either depending on their vulnerability status, they may go to one of our colleagues that run shelters here in the San Diego area, but that only captures a group, and I know our shelters are doing really good work. They're sheltering and helping hundreds of migrants themselves. However, these it has been narrowed down to 5 vulnerability categories. Thank you. I did not prepare statements for today, but that leaves hundreds of other migrants that are being released into San Diego every day since last Wednesday. I have been at the Metropolitan Transit Station Transit Center, and I've been watching as migrants are being released, and they're under no conditions to continue with their journey in a safe and secure manner to reach their destinations. They're released with cell phones that are completely uncharged. They're released hungry, without having to go to the bathroom, without sleeping, separated from their loved ones. And they arrive and are just being dropped at an MTS transit center in the middle of a city, new country, and no resources at times to get to their final destination. Community organizations have responded on those sites. Since Wednesday, we have been on the ground.
Ma'am, thank you. Sorry.
With no resources. We need resources.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker, Yasmin Kazim. Yasmin Kasim. No, okay, thank you. Roberta Beta.
Hi, my name is Roberto Cepeda. I'm a San Diego State student, English major, pursuing a certificate program in Spanish presently, and I aspire to be a lawyer. The reason why I'm here today is to address the issues that are going on in the border right now. It's been more likely a week since I've been helping, and it's all volunteer work. I just want to emphasize some of the things that I hear on the ground. from migrants, right, and their needs. Before coming over here, we were in the Whiskey 8. The last 3 items that were asked for were water. And it almost seems to me, being there for a week, that it would almost be like, I could see it on my side, right? The water's in the corner. They can't. So I have to direct. It almost seems to me like, well, it's right there, right? But it makes an impression on me, right? That they're asking for water. That we go to Hakamba, and the most coveted, right, or the thing that they want most is cardboard, right? And I think, when was the last time I wanted cardboard so bad, right? Because they want it to sleep on, right? And so I'm out there, and I can't help, right, but to continue being there and doing the work of building relationships with other organizations that are providing the bare essentials. I'm also part of the Chicano Mexicano Prison Project, and I've been a member for 5-6 years. And my role there is to expose the conditions in the carceral systems. And there's parallels here, right? There's parallels in that no human being should be deprived of the basic necessities that were addressed earlier today, right? And to think that there's children, right? I see little infants, months old, right, wailing while they're being stripped down, being transported, or being left out there. The things they want are canopies, sweaters, blankets. I heard so many requests just now, blankets, right? And so we're working with limited resources, and we're making it happen. 3 of us are going from Whiskey 8 to Hakamba, coming back to feed 600 people. The first time we went feed 300, and then I wasn't expecting to go to a different site. I'm not gonna lie, I was scared because I saw the numbers, and I was scared because we were on limited supplies, right? But we made it happen. And I was scared to ask, what time is it? What time is it? Before I knew it was 6 in the morning. We were out there at 6 p.m. And so we're making it happen. That's just 3 people. I see more than, I know I can count approximately, I see more than 20. We can make something happen.
And thank you, Roberto. Madam Chair, that concludes public comment on this item.
Now we will go to our commissioners, human relations commissioners. We will start with Taha. Do you have? Okay. And then we will go all the way around. Okay. About 3 minutes.
Hello? Oh, this one works. This one was working now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lilian and everyone. Thank you for your courage, and thank you for doing this on behalf of everyone in the San Diego County. I'm very aware of what's going on because I do receive the daily emails about the situation, and it's really breaking our hearts because at the Islamic Center of San Diego we do receive individuals. Unfortunately, I didn't go to the site, but I have community members who have been there from PANA working, on a daily basis and sending us individuals after they are released. Just in the last 5 days, we had more than 13 or 14 individuals that we hosted at the Islamic Center of San Diego, and they told me, they shared with me the suffering that they have experienced over there. And we help them by lodging them, by feeding them, and then most of them buying them one-way ticket to go and join their sponsors, mostly in the East Coast. I would like to suggest that our commission should take a strong action to address this issue directly to the law enforcement, to the authorities. I know that, I've been involved in immigration issues for so long, and every time we try to address issues like this, what's going on our border, we have never been successful. as faith leaders, as interfaith community, we have never been successful because there was no response. And I hope that this time as a commission, with the power we have as individuals representing different organizations, different faith-based communities, different coalitions, I hope we can do something. Thank you.
Good evening. Apologies for my delay. I'm so sorry I missed the earlier part of your presentation. I just had to come from another meeting. But thank you so much for coming here today. I know you all have so much work that you are doing and so many things that you're taking care of. So I really want to say I appreciate all the hard work that you all are doing. I second what Imam Taha is saying. I think it's really critical for us as a county-wide body to take action on this. And I wonder if there's interest in maybe doing a county-wide effort to push for more donations and support, maybe a call out for the community to make sure that there is, I know that folks want to support, but maybe they don't know what avenue to take. Maybe we can be that avenue and support folks to know this is how you can direct your resources and this is how you can direct your donations. I'm sorry if you shared this already, but if there's a way for us as individuals to support, I definitely want to hear more about that. Maybe I can connect with you later on offline, but I think as individuals, this is also a call for us all, not just the commissioners, but also folks that are in attendance today from the public to physically use yourself, maybe your resources to be able to support folks. I think that's really critical, but thank you very much for coming here.
So I just wanted to say thank you, a note of gratitude, of course, for the presentation, but more importantly, I think for your uncommitting and unwavering commitment to uplift and on every single day, 24/7, be able to respond and really truly live out your values of welcoming and ensuring folks' basic needs and beyond are protected. So thank you. I also just want to uplift the opportunity that the commission has and members of the public. Knowledge is power. I think as these advocates have shared today, that this has really been going on for quite some time. And I think with that knowledge, we have an opportunity to better understand an issue. We've been called in as a community to learn and see firsthand the experience that these brave folks are facing every day. And so I hope that this commission heeds that request and really digs in. But sort of extrapolating out to our community at large, recognizing that I would say from my perspective, the lucky ones are the ones that are currently going through the respite shelters, infrastructure that is in San Diego, and really wanting to vision as a community, what does it mean to welcome somebody? What does it mean to welcome the stranger in all senses of the word? I think most of us around this table are not originally from here, if you think about that concept more broadly. And so we may or may not have had in our recent past an experience in our own families of being welcomed. And so I just think that there's a tremendous opportunity to learn from folks like this and then overlay that into our communities at large of what we can do with our knowledge and our power and our resources. So thank you again.
Good evening. I appreciate you and your team highlighting this issue. And I think this is a very important issue. I would like to support it. And as a youth and someone representing youth, do you have any other suggestions specifically for us?
So we have folks from the youth council at the city level that have been coming out and supporting us. There's a lot of us that take our children to the sites and our younger youth family members, young family members. There, like I had mentioned before, there's a role for everyone. So the other day at Whiskey 8, I had my 9-year-old niece helping pack peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that were going out. I've had my children both at the site, and we get young visitors every day that come and support. So if a young child can come out there and their heart's in the right place, I think us as adults can also do the same.
Thank you very much.
Hi, just first and foremost, thank you all so much for the incredibly essential, life-saving and critical and also very emotionally demanding work that you do. I'm here on the commission representing the San Diego LGBT Community Center. We're a proud member of the San Diego Immigrants' Rights Consortium. And I know that some members of our team have been on the ground assisting with some direct support. So just wanted to thank you all again for that incredible work you're doing. And the center is proud to partner with you on that direct support work.
Good evening. First, I would like to say thank you for the presentation and the information. Like my fellow commissioner mentioned, knowledge is power, and that's all our call to action as humans. And so actions speak louder than words. And so I can't tell you what I'm about, but I can show you. So just know that my heart is with you, and you'll see a little bit more of me. So thank you for you all coming out and giving us the information.
It's very difficult for me to speak. This is all heart-wrenching. I've been working on immigration issues for I don't know how many years. I was one of the founders of the San Diego Rights Consortium. I just want to say, as a commissioner, I personally, Flor, will encourage and proceed with writing a letter to BP on behalf of the commission for the inhumane treatments and conditions. No one should be exposed to these inhumane conditions, no matter who you are. We have issues here in this room that we're going to be addressing, but nothing compared to this. Nothing. So with that said, I just want to thank you again for your courage, your service, and your commitment. And yes, this is something we all need to take seriously.
Thank you, and I agree. I have 3 questions. Okay, number one, what are the reasons why people are risking their lives to come here?
All right, we'll try this again. Okay. So the question was, I'm sorry, what are the reasons people are
risking their lives?
Risking their lives. It will be hard to tell. As we mentioned, we have people from all over the world with many different language, and there is a very real language barrier there for us to really be able to communicate. It is really through the partnerships, like with PANA and other organizations who we have been able to communicate with those that are not Spanish speakers. But what some of the migrants have shared with us are they are risking everything. They have nowhere to go back. A lot of these migrants have been already on the road for months, or others actually just left a few days before with nothing with them because they were being persecuted because they belong to very specific social groups. A group that is very present in my mind is folks from Afghanistan. So some of those are the folks that were left behind when our troops pull out of the conflict area. We also heard from people from different countries in Latin America who are, basically being extorted by criminal organisms in their countries of origin, and the government not being able to protect them.
Okay. Then my second question is, other than Mexico, which countries are represented? Which countries are folks coming from the greatest?
So I'm glad. Let me add natural disasters to the last question. So we see a lot of folks from Haiti, and we're planning on seeing a lot of folks from Morocco soon because of the earthquake. So natural disasters is also that. So those of us on the ground that are there day and night don't see Mexicans coming through asking for asylum. So it's every other part of the world except for Mexico. So we have folks that are coming from China, from Afghanistan, from Georgia, from Jordan, from Iran, from Vietnamese folks, from all parts of South America, all parts of Central America, and the whole entire world except for Mexico.
That brings up my last question then. Basically, which countries are people from which countries are just automatically turned back? We know that there are 5,000 Haitians in Tijuana, and they've been there for years waiting to come.
Yeah, that question actually takes us to a broader conversation in the immigrant world, or the asylum law, I guess, world, that currently the Biden administration decided to limit asylum to only folks who are able to schedule an appointment by an app on your smartphone, obviously leaving out a lot of people who don't have smartphones, who are not able to use that technology, and also who don't speak Spanish, Creole, or English, because are the only three languages in which this app is available. So those folks that you're referring to that are stranded in Tijuana and really all the northern part of Mexico will continue to wait there until an appointment is available through this app. And just to give you context, there is only about, and sometimes this changes, but about 1,200 appointments available daily all along the southern border, not just in San Diego, from San Diego all the way to Brownsville, Texas. And you just mentioned the number just in Tijuana alone. You can imagine Ciudad Juarez and all the other major cities. So the majority of the people that we're seeing in these encampments are actually not the people who have been in Tijuana for 3 years.
Thank you.
I'm going to pass. We're at 6:22, so I would like to ask all the other commissioners, can you just make your comments short so that we will proceed with the next items on the agenda?
Thank you. First of all, I want to commend your dedication to serve those asylum seekers, immigrants, and refugees. The United States can only fulfill its promise to be a land of opportunities when it serves the needs and the dignity of asylum seekers, immigrants, and refugees. ADL is part of the San Diego Immigrants' Rights Consortium, and you know that we are here to support your efforts. I have a question in terms of advocacy. Where do you position yourselves right now? Which is it at the federal, state, or local levels that you engage with elected officials and policymakers? And how can we help there?
So the short answer to that is everybody. So as SBCC, we are actually helping our local affiliates, taking the heaviest lift with the federal level. So I'm in daily communication with all levels of CBP, from local to all the way to headquarters. We have raised our concerns all the way to the White House and also multiple members of Congress. I know our San Diego delegation has had multiple briefings by CBP, but once again, while we have been doing all this advocacy for months, very recently CBP sent a letter to members of Congress stating that these individuals were technically not in custody because they haven't had contact with any Border Patrol agent, which is total false. I'd show you the pictures. So we are once again working with our members of Congress to address those concerns. I will leave the local to the local.
As an organization, our main advocacy efforts are locally and at the state level. So as an organization, we have conversations with our local state and assembly offices and our county board of supervisor offices. And as a consortium,
Also, as an individual organization, we do have our advocacy groups in our local level and then also federally. And as a consortium, really working through our local and state to ensure that we have the resources coming from the state. So reaching out to our state senators and also our local representatives, because these are in the backyards of certain districts through the Hakama sites, the Whiskey 8, and now that we're seeing the street releases in the hundreds, between 300 and 600 daily, really reaching out to our local agencies. And to you all.
Thank you for
today.
your presentation tonight. I'm sure that most of the people, or some of the people here in the room today, from the commissioners to the public, have get their information from the news about this whole issue. And as I have taken it in, it seems like it's being portrayed that everything's being handled somewhat, and that people are getting dropped off at the MTS stops They got their connections already made to family in different cities, and they're waiting on a connection to get on a plane. And I mean, that's the way it's been reported for the last week, that, hey, they're dropping them off, but you know, we're just waiting on a connection to the airport from the, I don't know how the airport and the trolley connects, but that's what's being portrayed. So thank you for the work that you're putting in. And my new commissioner here next to me just asked the question about the, you know, certainly the resources that you're all putting in on the individual basis out of your own pocket. And I thank you for that. I know that this problem is so big that there's no way that the county of San Diego or even individuals can handle it. This is definitely something that's on a federal level. So I'm glad to hear that you are reaching out to the federal, the Congress delegation here locally that can help get those federal dollars coming in to deal with this huge problem that's all across the southern border, which we're on. Thank you.
Can I just really briefly add, because while we are doing our job advocating at the federal level, the reality at the federal level is that we are about to go into a government shutdown. And that's also a very real context to this conversation, because we know that we do not have the resources to address this in 2 weeks to today or sometime at the end of this month. We will probably even see less resources coming in. So that is part of the conversation we're posting when we know the federal government is responsible, but we also know that they're not committed to solving this situation. What do we do? Do we allow for this to happen in our backyards? And that is what the respond that are, local organizations and even just community members. We have seen community members who were sitting down watching TV recognize the water plant station and the water treatment plant, and they showed up and they asked, what can I do? So that is part of the conversation here. What do we do when the federal government doesn't do their job?
I just want to say thank you for bringing this to our attention. I live about 15 minutes from Jacumba, and I did not know that this was going on. My tribe does have cultural monitors out near the border wall in both areas, and they were aware of some of the stuff closer down here, but I didn't know that this was going on in Jacumba. That's very distressing to me when you describe children and babies out in the mountains. It's hot in the daytime and it's getting very cold in the night. So I want to say that I'm going to go back to my tribe and see what we can do to help you. I would love to tour the site. I wish a group of commissioners would get together and take their own time and go out and look at these sites. I think for the first time, I feel like this is something that we could all get behind, and this is the reason that we're all sitting here. We need to help this. No more dehumanization from the federal level or any other level. We need to address these things that it is so hard to believe that they are still going on. I spoke about this when the kids were being put in cages a number of years ago, and I still haven't gotten over that, because that happened to my people and we were and had been here for thousands of years. Now it's happening to people who have a hope to come here based on what the founding documents of this country speaks about. So I hope that we all get behind and do something about this, because the suffering is real and it's terrible. Thank you all very much for what you do.
Again, thank you for everything that you have been doing. I second what was recommended by my friend Commissioner Angela. I would like very much, I think, to arrange for the whole commission to visit the site, see firsthand what's going on, in order to decide and find out if there is anything we can do, which we should do. At the same time, I thank Imam Taha, because he spoke on behalf of my community, the Arab and the Muslim community, and we have the same fear now that many of our fellow Arab Moroccans may be coming your way soon, and we'd like to be involved. Thank you.
I'll actually be short and sweet and quiet quickly. First of all, I appreciate you guys going out on a limb and doing what you're doing, but I think the most important thing that we notice here is the complete inadequacy and saturation of our immigration system, and that needs to be the fundamental thing that needs to be fixed. So anyways, thank you guys.
Thank you for your boldness and your steadfastness to stand. We don't stand for something, we'll fall for anything. I'm gonna personally be praying for you. The Lord, his hedge of protection will be upon you. And I ditto Commissioner Hassan, whatever it is that we can do, let's do it. You know, it's all about the business of putting boots to the ground as opposed to a whole lot of this. So keep doing what you're doing, and may the Lord continue to protect you.
Last night, one of your community partners, the North County LGBTQ Center, got a hold of me. And obviously the LGBT community as the center's involved in this. But I have two questions for you. Number one, a word, because they said, and we need to know, all of us, that as you mentioned, the nonprofit centers who are helping and getting these tickets and stuff are dipping into their own resources. So the center told us that they had already spent in one day $3,000 getting a bus pass. So I got up about 5,000 from Ryan of Riches, and we put it in, gave it to them because we wanted to make sure in case there's more. My question is, where immediately, I think all of us have friends that have money or organization. That's what I think we need to do. Is the first thing is you need to have this financial support. So where do we send these resources? I already knew North County, but in San Diego.
Thank you for that question. There's different organizations that are on the ground that are accepting money, but one thing I want to point out, especially in terms of donations, is that it's all connected, right? I'm taking lead at the border wall where we're first seeing folks, where we're first seeing, like I was telling them, we see the panic, right? Like that's the step that I get to see. And it does take a special type of person to be able to handle that, right? Because I've seen people show up to the border wall, see little babies without shoes or little children without jackets and just break down crying, right? But we're all connected. So my part is connected to the street release part, and we're connected to the advocacy. So the donations or the money being coming in, it has to cover the whole entire spectrum, right? We need support at the wall with the humanitarian aid, the immediate need. People are hungry. People need water. We need the street releases, need help with the transportation, the flights, what's needed on the ground when we're triaging at the transit centers, right? And advocacy also needs funding. We need this to be sustainable. We need the infrastructure because it's not sustainable for us.
So just continue giving to where we gave the 5,000 to North. They did say that they were part of your coalition.
They're working on some of the street release part. So they're the ones that are helping us take care of the Oceanside Transit Center. So that's just one little part of this big picture.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Just
sir.
the last question. Has any of our Congress members or assembly who's taken a leadership role on this, of any elected official, statewide or federal?
On site, I can tell you which elected officials have showed up when I've been there. So we've had Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs send her staff to visit or tour Whiskey Aid. We've also had Senator Alex Padilla send his staff to visit Whiskey Aid. From the county level, the only one that I'm aware of is who's my supervisor, Jim Desmond. And I'm not sure if you know of anybody else on the county. Oh, Maria Nunez from the San Marcos City Council has also been at the border wall providing aid. And Eric Joyce from Oceanside.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the incredible work of the community members and nonprofit organizations to voice this inhumane and unacceptable situation at our southern borders. I personally had the privilege to volunteer at the shelters and to welcome the new community members when they transition out of the detention centers. We're a bordering county. HRC needs to prioritize and take the lead to create ways to support the vulnerable individuals, what they're settling in or passing through our county. We're at the International Rescue Committee, continue to support and advocate. And then I'll definitely share this presentation with everyone at the IRC. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this wonderful presentation. The action items that have been identified is to write a letter to the Border Patrol. I would like to extend that even further to invite the Border Patrol to present here at a Human Relations Commission meeting, tour the site, and also let's parlay our resources, given all the nonprofits that are represented here, in order for us to assist at the border. I know there have been recent conversations with an organization that I chair, with Congressional Juan Vargas, who convened a hearing, a briefing with regard to the mistreatment of Haitians at the border. And we have been involved. Second was a phone call from a nonprofit in Oceanside, where standing right there in front of them were 40 asylum seekers, men, who needed a one-night place to stay in a hotel, just one night. Actually, it was 40, and with 17, just needed 17 hotels. And I have to give credit to the San Diego County leaders, where I forwarded that information to, who then forwarded the information to the Oceanside Resource Center there, and they were able to accommodate all 40 asylum seekers for one night stay, rather than sleeping on the ground in front of that nonprofit. So there's a great need out there, and we all need to get involved. Thank you so much for your time and that wonderful presentation. As someone said, sentiment, I think it was, knowledge is power. We are now informed, now we have to act. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and move to agenda item 6, where Director Strong will actually facilitate the discussion on changes to the bylaws and governing a resolution and creation of a supplemental application for nominees, information document, and additional required training, including anti-bias training and other changes to the bylaws. And we have 30 minutes with regard to that particular topic.
And thank you, Chair Nash. Not so much going to facilitate the discussion, but I will introduce the item, and then we'll take public comment. So Chair Nash, item number 6, discussion on chart changes to the bylaws and governing resolution, with creation of a supplemental application for nominees, affirmation document, additional required training, and any other changes to the bylaws. This is an item that you have proposed 2 action items for discussion. The first action item is to refer to the bylaws subcommittee potential changes to the bylaws and governing documents regarding creation of a supplemental application for nominees, the affirmation document, additional required training, and any other changes. Attached to the agenda are rough draft documents that could help the bylaws subcommittee in their discussion and development of these items. And I just want to stress again that the documents that were attached are not final by any means. They're rough draft documents to help the bylaws committee get that conversation started. Action item number 2, pause new member appointments by the HRC until new bylaws changes and governing resolution are approved or rejected by the Board of Supervisors. Note, if you would like the Board of Supervisors to pause appointments as to this commission as well, you would need to send a formal letter requesting the board to do so. Also note, on agenda item number 7 on today's agenda, there's a recommendation in Nicole Murray Ramirez's letter to appoint Rabbi Deborah Marcus to the commission. It is also appropriate for you to consider this during this discussion. And Madam Chair, we have one member of the public wishing to speak. Bruce, Abrams. And Bruce, you have 2 minutes to speak. We're going to limit the public comment to 2 minutes.
My name is Bruce Abrams. I served on the city's Human Relations Commission for 8 years. Of those 8 years, 7 years, I was the chair. And so I'm here to give you some positive advice. Please look to the state for the human relations rules and regulations. Please think about sensitivity issues, sensitivity training for on board of your board members, and realize that we have biases. Your your commission should excel in stopping intolerance and hate. Think about what you're doing here, and also think about who's not at the table. I had an executive director, Ashley Walker. I don't know if you know her. She was a hero in our community, and she was an African-American woman who knew a lot about the harm of lynching and other things that had affected her life. And the expression she said to me as chair and carried it on is, you carry the water of others. So realize that you are in this seat today, but you are here to represent everyone in San Diego and for the people who are not at the table. So please think, who's overrepresented on your commission? Who's underrepresented? There's plenty of other faces and other communities that should be here. And think about how honorable your commission can be by taking to the next level, because Ashley would want that. We all would want that. So thank you.
And that concludes public comment on this, Madam Chair.
Thank you, former Commissioner Bruce Abrams, for those words of wisdom. Thank you. In regards to the agenda items, now we want to open the floor to our Human Relations Commissioners. And let's break this up a little bit. We want to first respond to agenda item 6. And let's just read it again. Does discussion on changes to bylaws and governing resolution, creation of the supplemental application for nominees, affirmation documents, additional required training, and any other changes to the bylaws. And the two vice chairs are Madam Vice Chairs, Eleanor Evans and Madam Vice Chair Estela de los Reyes. We've been talking with community members and other subject matter experts. And some of the things that we had talked about that we should reconsider is revisiting the formation, the structure of the commission, including things like the number of seats, other HRC best practices, including law enforcement, looking at exploring incentives for childcare, gas card stipends. It's very passionate in my heart, kind of speaks to what Bruce was just saying about we need to expand the diversity of our commission, particularly when it comes to including single parents, single women who are childcare, young people that we have here, and also the reality of gas prices are just ridiculous. And I believe that we need to really consider exploring some of those opportunities to ensure we do have diversity on the board. I would like to start with, we're going to start with the other end of the table. If you have any comments, and we're going to go around, let's make those comments 2 minutes because we're trying to facilitate and expedite this meeting. Thank you. Do you have a mic down there?
Nicole, you're holding them.
Do we have to go around I don't think that, does everyone want to comment on this, or can we just raise our hands if we want to comment on this? I think that will make the meeting go faster.
We have.
I see people agreeing.
Right, wait, we're going to take this in order. And the reason is we have to use the mic because we're online. So
No,
Commissioner,
I'm speaking about passing the mic all around. I don't think that every commissioner wants to, I see over there agreeing with me, wants to comment on all
so
of
if you
this.
could pass the mic to Commissioner Hodges and then down. No. Commissioner Hodges, do you have something to say? Okay, pass the mic down.
Okay, first of all, 2 questions. One, is this supplemental application going to apply to those commissioners that are appointed by supervisors? Because they have their own selection criteria. So we're just talking about the supplemental application now, or the mission affirmation document at the same time? Find a mic that works.
Right. But you could change your bylaws to make that to make it apply to all appointments. So whatever, that's why the bylaws have to go to the board to get approved. So whatever this commission decides they want to change, it'd have to go in the bylaws and go to the board for approval.
Okay, well, I think it's superfluous at this point in time.
Well, I think that's an excellent idea. I would really pass it to the bylaws subcommittee to go ahead and prepare something for the whole commission to review and finalize, vote on, and then send it to the Board of Supervisors, hoping that the board will accept whatever the commission comes up with. And if need be, we may have to just go ahead and talk to some of those supervisors to ensure that they do. Thank you.
Who would review these supplemental applications? And then based on the questions, can you be denied, and who would deny you? Or it's just supplemental information and it holds no bearing on you being chosen?
That's one of the important questions that we would then send back to the bylaws subcommittee. We would run it by county council. So it would be fleshed out in order to defend our decisions on who's accepted and who was not accepted. Okay.
And just to piggyback on that, because you could also put that whatever your process, you want your process to be in the bylaws and approved by the board. So then you would have a process of whoever's reviewing, right? And checking with county council, make sure, right?
I guess I think this would help. I think one thing that I asked, how long has it been? 2 years ago, when the first incident happened that led us to this place, was training. And I know I said that at least at one meeting out loud, was that we needed training as commissioners, not just in Robert's Rules of Order or whatever we're using for that, but we also need training in how to do this, because although we're all here, I agree, we all have our own issues that we're here to defend, but just as was said earlier, we're all here for all humans, no matter what. So I mean, if this is what we want to spend our time on doing, is screening them in this manner, but I feel like training needs to occur as soon as possible for the commission. And I don't know how that goes as according to county council, if it has to be done and played out in this arena in front of everyone, that's fine with me. I don't know how it's done, but training needs to occur now and always throughout this process as we get new commissioners, and just to remind ourselves what we need to be doing here.
And thank you for that. And just to make a note that one of the reasons why we have training listed on here is that if we want to require training for our HRC members, it has to be in the bylaws. Otherwise, we can't require it.
Well, we need to do that.
Right. So that's one of the reasons that's on it. But the other thing is that we could offer training right now for commissioners, which is not a problem. That's something we're looking into.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. As I read through this, you know, it's important, but one of the things that keeps sticking out is that the part of the title of this commission is human. And as humans, we're all in you know, we have imperfections as being humans. And as we just had the presentation earlier, right now, the issue about the border and some other issues in San Diego, the hate crimes that have been going around certain neighborhoods in Del Cerro, those are issues that reoccur around the nation and certainly in our own community. And so it's something that we can't help, but we have members of the commission who are in the public. We have members of the public who come to the commission with these things that are important to them. And so, you know, I guess every individual would have to, you know, before they come to the meeting, get their mind right about that. You know, we're here to accomplish a mission. It's a lot to bite off for a 2-hour meeting to deal with some of the issues that come in front of us, because they're not 2-hour issues. They're issues that, you know, they've been going on for years, and I'm talking about 100-year issues. They're a long time all around the world. So I would like to see that we have some practical rules as far as the commission would be more efficient, as far as we have some rules set down about if we deal with an issue and it's already been resolved, the commission members have voted to make a move on one way or the other, and we live in a democratic society where we have put up something where it's been voted on and it's been resolved, then we need to move on from that, and we need to quit bringing it back up and having it take valuable time.
Commissioner
on
Fowler,
regular
you're
issues.
going off topic. The topic is we're going to update our bylaws to include certain selection practices, onboarding practices, and we're sending, the recommendation is to send this back to the bylaw subcommittee for review, research, and recommendations back to the full commission.
No, thank
And
you,
that's
Chair.
where we are.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just reading through this, and since I have been on the commission for a while, I'm commenting on the fact that some of this stuff is being generated on the fact that after we encounter an issue, then we go back to the drawing board about drawing bylaws, and we're going to
Right.
continue to
Right.
in that process if we don't have a substantial situation right now where we're addressing the issues that we've already encountered and put some bylaws down about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I would like to express my support for the provisions in agenda item 6 that would create the supplemental application for nominees affirmation document, the additional required training, and the other changes to the bylaws. I hope it will bring back the Human Relations Commissions to its mission and purpose. I do have some clarifications to ask. How long would it take to update the bylaws and to have them approved by the county supervisors? How do we define new member appointment? I see that we are going to pose new member appointments by HRC. And this comes in the context where I think a lot of these discussions came after we had instances of anti-Semitism and hate against the Jewish community here at this HRC. And it comes as well before on the agenda, before we have a conversations about the appointment of Rabbi Marcos, which for the Jewish community is extremely important to have a representative of our faith on this commission. We have other representative of Abrahamic faith. We have an imam, a reverend, and we don't have a rabbi. And again, it comes at a time where our community feels extremely targeted by hate. And I think it will send a strong message to the community and appease their anxiety. So why do we pose? Can we have an exception on the appointment of applicants who have submitted their applications already? And how can we expedite this process? Thank you.
And I'll just give you some feedback on the process. So it would be up to the commission how long it takes to actually do the creation of those documents, because you will be the ones creating the documents. But after the documents are ready to go to the board of supervisors, we would have to figure out what board meeting we want to attend. And depending on whether it's the holidays and those types of things, there's typically 2 board meetings every month. But over the holidays and during the summertime, there's 1. So we got to be very strategic about when and what that timing looks like.
I just wanted to make a comment in terms of expediting this process. As we updated the bylaws a few months ago, that process took us, I just recalled it took us 2 meetings, and they were emergency called meetings. We worked hard with county council to update those bylaws, which gave us the authority to remove commissioners. And that's why those bylaws were updated. So my commitment as chair is that we will expedite the process. We'll work hard. I have an expert chair, Commissioner David Garcias, who chaired and expedited that process before. And any of the commissioners here that are at the table who would like to serve on that subcommittee, we'd be more than happy to have you. But again, it's to expedite that process in order to update the bylaws with regard to these particular opportunities that we have.
I just want to share the perspective of the Jewish community here, who feels that it is not being heard adequately. We are using our words, but we are not using our actions. This is the high holidays for our community, and 4 of our recommendations that are being outlined, and we're going to discuss it on the next item at the agenda. One of these recommendations was more Jewish representation on this Human Relations Commission. I just want to highlight that yesterday, our city council meeting was hijacked by extremists who went on a rant against the Jewish community, the LGBTQ plus community, again, African American and other communities. We as a commission needs to send a strong message, not only in our words, but in our actions. And we have an opportunity to do it tonight. This is the high holidays.
You have comment? Okay.
I'm sorry, but when I proposed that we review the bylaws, I was looking at the actual bylaws. I know this came up before, but as I reread it and reread it, it's a lot of rhetoric and really no substance. It's when you apply to the commission, you know, you're asked those questions on the application. And so with the whoever the supervisor is that you're applying with, I don't really see the need for this the way it's written. I mean, jeepers, this is like an essay, a term paper, you know, these questions, and they just go on and on and on. I'm looking at revising the bylaws that we already have. And if there's something that needs to be added to it, yes, but to have 4 pages of words, it's not even wordsmithing, I don't know what to call it, but it's not necessary. You know, I really don't think it's necessary.
Commissioner Evans, this is only a draft to start with. We can reduce it, we can expand it, but it's only a draft.
Thank you. And as co-chair, I was one of the ones that did recommend going forward, because everything that we have already experienced going forward, we need to prevent bias in the commission operations and make sure that we promote positive human relations. And going back to what ex-Commissioner Bruce Abrams mentioned, we have to take this commission seriously. So I am all for a supplemental application. Perhaps we can just revise some of the questions because some of the questions are repetitive. And I'm also in agreement with the mission affirmation for all of us to read it and understand it and sign it and agree to it. I think it's very important, as I serve on this Human Relations Commission, to take this commission seriously. So I am all for revising the bylaws and adding more questions, and also expecting the county supervisors to meet our expectations as well. So thank you.
Thank you. I mirror a lot of what other commissioners have said. As far as these 3 action items on the agenda are concerned, I do agree that the bylaws needs a review, and I think that it needs intentional attention, not just expedited for the purpose of getting it done and getting a check in the box. Not saying that that happens, but I am saying that we have to be more intentional and be more purposeful in our words and not just put a whole bunch of words on paper and put a whole lot of rhetoric and buzzwords on paper going forward for this commission. The second thing is the new appointments by the HRC. I definitely stand by the recommendation that we should move about with the folks that are not represented on this commission and try to get those folks on the commission. However, I wrote a letter on July 20th, and I think that this commission needs a restructuring. I don't think that we're effective as a commission, and it should not take 2 years to solve or address human relations concerns. We are here to represent an entire county of people, and San Diego is one of the most beautiful places where you can get a little bit of everything here in this community and this county. And for us not to do that on a human level, not a political level, or any of those things that have come to light for members of this commission, I think is a travesty, and I'm disgusted, to be honest with you. So my recommendation is to restructure the commission, and we can talk about that another time. However, this is ineffective. This is ineffective, and it's disgusting, and everybody here has so much to add to this community, and to sit here and kick a can down the road after it's been resolved, after some things have been issued, or, you know, we've taken action on, it's an absolute travesty. And as a human, me, Cinnamon Clark, this is not who I stand. This is not who I am, and it's not alignment with my own personal mission, vision, values. And I think that it's time for us to take actual action by looking at some type of restructuring and actually leveraging the beautiful talents that each one of you has in a more purposeful way, because this is not it.
I would absolutely support additional application materials for commissioners. I would also support additional training and education for commissioners. And I would also support the nomination of Rabbi Deborah Marcus to the commission.
I do not have a comment. Thank you.
Thank you. So I appreciate the draft, and I acknowledge that it's a draft and it's an opportunity to improve or change the draft. So I do support the supplemental application in theory and would want to have input, potentially have the bylaws committee review it in greater detail. And then as far as the nomination, I also support moving forward with the nomination of Rabbi Marcus. And I think much like I shared with the presentation that we had talked about in May, it feels like the nomination of a member of the Jewish community, and specifically, I think Rabbi Marcus, to be nominated on the committee has been talked about at multiple meetings. And so for a matter of procedure and to acknowledge the commitment that has been made in previous meetings, I think it's important that we move forward with having that vote. And then considering the pause from there.
Thank you. I'll just be really quickly. I think there's definitely some repetition. Question 1 is really repetitive to question 6. So I think, yeah, obviously it's a draft, but I was just, just say like going back to the language and editing it and making sure it's not just like, things that folks are saying about themselves, but I would recommend even maybe like a community testimony or like a reference from the community that shows that, hey, I can testify that this person is, as they say in the application. So I know that that's a lot of more work, but I do think that if we're going to sit here and say that we're representing human relations in the county, that we do need these additional materials. I also +1, and I support what Commissioner Cinnamon Clark just mentioned around restructuring. And in my opinion, I feel like at this point, there's just a lot of structural issues. And I feel like adding more people when there's already a lot of issues internally is not going to solve anything or help anything. So I do think taking a pause and being like, where are we right now? Structurally, what are some things that we can work on? Because I feel like if someone's going to come here and present to us about what's happening in the community and we're literally not doing anything about it, then that's a structural problem. But I appreciate the work that's going into this process. Thank you.
I don't have any comment at this moment.
Thank you, Chair Nass. And do we want to take somebody needs to make a motion? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna make a motion on the first item that we refer the items to the bylaws subcommittee for review or for actions or recommendations.
Have a motion in a second.
Thank you. So my question is, so we send these items over to the bylaws committee and I will work on that. I'm committed to assisting on this process. So when we do that, does that mean that they're going to be adopted, or do we get to vote on that afterwards for all of the reasons that we've kind of talked about before?
So I'm sorry, I was talking to council. Did you say if you draft that on the bylaws subcommittee, does it come back to this commission to get voted and adopted?
Correct. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Chair, I got a question. The clarification for the director. He spoke on it, but I saw you head nod. Did you affirm that? Or I didn't hear a verbal answer.
That's up
to
for
that.
the commission to decide, but our understanding as boards and commissions is that commissions need to vote to approve anything that they want to move forward to go to the Board of Supervisors. So yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll.
Can you repeat the motion, please? I'm sorry. Any other discussion?
My motion is to refer all the items to the bylaws subcommittee. I just wanted to make it simple and just start with the first one, and so.
I seconded the motion, but I would like to put a time limit so that we don't leave it for discussions that will take several months or years. Let's say that within a month's time or whatever the commission decides, we receive something from the bylaws commission to be voted upon by the next meeting or the meeting after or whatever. Is that?
Yeah, I'm good with the time limit. What, 1 month,
I
2 months? What do you guys? What's realistic?
I think 2 months is a maximum because there are many.
I would just suggest that you leave that to kind of the bylaws subcommittee to maybe discuss since we're at this forum. But as far as the time frame, but right now, I know we're taking the action to vote on this item. So if you could just for everybody at the commission to restate the motion one more time, so everybody's clear.
Director, I had a friendly amendment to the motion from the motion maker to request that if they want to, if this gets voted to send to the bylaws committee, that when it comes out of the bylaws committee, that the recommendation goes to the board of supervisors first, so that they can have eyes on it, and so that we aren't wasting our time with something coming back different from what they proposed. Or anyway, that was my amendment.
In my experience with the past bylaws, where Commissioner Corey was there and David Garcia, who's not here, Commissioner was chair, we expedited that process. And I'm adamant, I would like to expedite the process where I know it's going to take us a while, but we can roll up our sleeves and we can get this done. And I would like to have it back on the agenda next month. I'm ready. If I have to do it myself, we can get this done. Okay. So if we can now go ahead and any more discussion? Okay, wait a minute. Okay. Commissioner.
Thank you. I would like to amend the motion to refer all the items to the bylaws committee with a time limit, but to also have an exception on the pause for Rabbi Marcus appointments on this, on the next meeting's agenda.
Future reference, instead of using bullets, could we use like A or B? Because some of us are going on into area 7, bullet number 1.
Okay, we'll adjust that. We need to go back to the discussion on the motion.
That's why I tried to keep it just simple. So I'm going to restate. My motion is to send the bylaws back to the bylaws subcommittee for recommendations to come back to this commission. And I'm going to take you at your word that you're going to expedite the process. And I also would like to say that I would like to join the bylaws committee if I'm not already part of it.
Please, we need you. Okay. Call the question?
You're still good with the second? Okay.
All right. Any more questions? Any more comments? All right, call the question.
All right, we'll call the vote. Commissioner Cinnamon Clark. Commissioner Kay Clark. Commissioner Stella de los Rios. Commissioner Angela Elliott Santos.
Aye.
Commissioner Eleanor Evans. Commissioner Sarah Farouk. Commissioner Rodney Fowler. Commissioner Taha Hassan. Commissioner Dennis Hodges. Commissioner Adim Ishmael. Commissioner George Corey. Commissioner Nicole Murray Ramirez. Chair Nash. Commissioner Fabian Perloff. Commissioner Gina Roberts. Commissioner Milan Shah. Commissioner David Vance. Madam Chair, that motion passes with all members voting aye.
Let's now go to action item. Director Strong, regarding the pause new member appointments by HRC until new bylaws, changes and governing resolution are approved or rejected by the Board of Supervisors. Do we have any public comment? Public comment on the, oh, okay, all right. All right, go ahead. I wish we were sort of broke it up a little bit.
So Chair, I'd like to, we already had the public comment, and if it's appropriate, I'd like to make the motion that we pause that until we have,
Sorry, really quickly.
Let me read it again.
Chris took a motion and voted on item number 6, which has all 3 of those line items on it.
Is that right?
You made a motion on that item, right? But only one item under item number 6. So you have the opportunity to make multiple motions on that item.
Yeah.
Would you restate your motion, Commissioner Fowler?
my motion was to pause item 6 on the action item about the member appointments until we get the recommendation coming back from the bylaw committee.
Okay, can I get a second? Commissioner Corey, second. Discussion? Commissioner Murray Barreras?
Well, if this motion passes, does that mean that my nomination of Rabbi Marcus could not go through? Well, then I urge that this is a very defining time for this commission. And it's absolutely important that we're under a black cloud. Let's be honest, editorials, people looking at this, and we have not taken a stand on homophobia that has been as an entire commission. And the most hurtful is the Jewish community. And we need to send a strong message to that community that we have heard them. As has been said, we've had 3 religious leaders here and good leaders, and I'm glad they're here, but we are missing a very important part of that religious representation, and that is the Jewish community. So I would urge that we not support this, so we can do an action item and put through the nomination. And you've all for a month, I have sent you twice. This is the second time, Rabbi Marcus's. Okay, it was supposed to be on the agenda last time, but it wasn't. So I respectfully urge you to not vote for this so that we can have the action item of Rabbi Marcus. Thank you.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. I hope I won't be misunderstood, and I have nothing at all, and I don't know Rabbi Marcus or whatever, but my understanding is the religious people that are on this commission were appointed by supervisors. Some of them. Now, the key is that we had already a process and a procedure that was established before, and we followed when we selected commissioners. And what we are right now doing is bypassing that old process or procedure. What I'm saying is let's go ahead and revise our bylaws so that whatever we do is not meant to be an exception to an existing process and procedure that we already followed before twice.
Thank you. Any other comments?
And I would concur with Mr. Curry.
And let's make sure we stay on topic here.
I think we need to clarify here, when we say exception to this item on the agenda, exception in the post, not exception in the application process. Rabbi Marcus has submitted her application officially and is going through the proper channel. So there is no exception in that sense. Her application is being examined as other applications. What we are saying is we want to make an amendment on this item to not pose Rabbi Marker's application for and move it for a vote. And because it has been, again, submitted properly, because it will send a strong message to our community because of the anti-Semitism that was blatant on this Human Relations Commission that needs to be addressed by actions and not words.
Commissioner Clark.
So I have a quick question for the discussion portion of this. As a member of the public, can Rabbi sit on the bylaws subcommittee in the draft and the development of the bylaws? Because I know some of our subcommittees, they're members of the public that are allowed to be part of those subcommittees. So I'm just asking if that's a possibility. If those voices are missing and we've halted nominations or acceptance onto the board or the commission, excuse me, can those members of the public be part of that drafting process?
Commissioner Clark, I can't recall that we've actually had community members, but they are public meetings and we've had public comment, just like we have tonight. We have public comment and they provide feedback. Am I correct on that? All right.
So they can participate.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I'm going to uplift the procedure part of what I think made in the previous comments, that I think this nomination was made at a previous meeting. And so I would like to see that happen for a vote today. And then I guess I have a question. If we do not do, if we do not vote on the nomination for Rabbi Marcus today, is there a commitment at the next HRC meeting to hear that vote and the nomination? Because I think I'm confused because it was brought up at a previous meeting. And so I'm not sure what the procedure is there.
Is that commission?
So thank you, fellow commissioner. I made a motion and I would entertain what you just suggested at the next meeting if we could wait until we get that report and give them a chance to work.
Okay.
Certainly, I think that would be as timely as quick as we could get it done, I think.
Commissioner Roberts.
We have other applications that really exist in the system.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, we do.
Yeah, that would have been my comment too, is that I believe we ought to have multiple applications to evaluate a potential commissioner. I mean, Nicole's recommendation is important, but we don't have we haven't had the opportunity to interview any other candidates, read any information about other candidates. So I would definitely agree with, well, actually with the original motion to pause the election and nomination of more commissioners until we have the bylaw change.
Thank you. We are almost at 7:24. 7:24. And nope. We already had, not this time.
We will have non-agenda public comment prior to the meeting close.
That's why we're trying to get through this particular issue so we can get to public comment.
I think it should be the commission.
You're speaking out of term, Commissioner Clark. Please let be acknowledged. Let's be acknowledged. So we are at 7:24. I would like for us to go ahead and take action on this item. It may take us over a few minutes, but let's take action on this item. Can the motion be stated again? And let's take action. The vote.
Thank you, Chair. I had asked that on discussion item number 6, action number bullet point number 2, that the action item about pause for new member to the bylaw committee till they have come out with their report, and that we pause that at least to the next meeting. That was my original motion.
And the timeline, we will report back next meeting.
Yes.
Did you all understand what I said? The motion? Repeat the motion,
Yes,
Commissioner Fowler.
my original motion was for that, item number 6, that action item, the bullet point number 2 was that we pause the new appointment by the HRC until the bylaw committee has had the opportunity to review the draft here and report back to the next meeting, and then take that item up of talking about the new commissioner or
The new
whatever, to
commission.
the next meeting,
Selection process.
to table. So my understanding of it was that earlier that the chair and some other commissioners here said that was going to be expedited, so they would be dealt with by the next meeting. That was my understanding.
Right.
If I could though, but they might have their recommendation out to us, but it's not going to probably get approved at the next meeting. So, I mean, I don't know, are we saying we're going to look at their review and then we're going to make an exception? Because if we're going to make an exception before the bylaws are approved, then we should just do it now. But I mean, I think there's a difference between the bylaws committee bringing the bylaws back for review, review by this board, than saying the bylaws are done and complete and revised, and now we're going to resume appointments of commissioners.
I was the one that proposed that we had a pause only because of the situation at our last meeting with the inappropriate application of religion. And I'm going to withdraw this. Okay, I'm going to withdraw it since I had originally made that. And this is there's a motion in the second. What they're saying.
You can't withdraw this. There is a motion and a second on the table. And so let's call the question and just call the vote. Okay, let's call the vote.
Only the maker of the motion can withdraw the motion. Does the maker of the motion want to continue?
I would like my motion to be voted on. I believe I heard that there was a call to question, so I would like for us to deal with that right now. Thank you.
I will call the vote. Commissioner Cinnamon Clark. Commissioner Kate Clark. Nay. Nay. Commissioner Estela de los Rios. Commissioner Angela Elliott Santos. Commissioner Eleanor Evans.
I'm really lost right now. I'll abstain.
Commissioner Sarah Farouk. Aye. Commissioner Rodney Fowler.
Aye.
Commissioner Taha Hussain. Commissioner Dennis Hodges. Commissioner Deem Ishmael. Commissioner George Corey. Commissioner Nicole Murray Ramirez. Commissioner Chair Nash.
Yes.
Commissioner Fabian Perloff. Commissioner Gina Roberts. Commissioner Milan Shah. Commissioner David Vance.
Abstain due to lack of clarity.
I'm sure that motion fails with only 7 yeas. Seven abstentions. 7 yeses, 7 abstentions. 3 noes. The clarification of the result is the motion fails with 7 yeses, not enough quorum, 7 abstentions, and 3 nays. We didn't have enough votes for it to pass. Yeah, we only had 7 yeses. We need 11 for the motion to pass.
I'm going to suggest that we freeze everything. Excuse me, freeze everything, pause it. By next meeting, we will have to vote on the new bylaws. Within 2 weeks after that, we will get the Board of Supervisors to approve the bylaws. And then we will be able to vote on whoever has applied so far. Because I know that there were several Jewish friends of mine that already applied also, not only the rabbi. So if we want Jewish representation, it may be able to take place. However, there is a process and a procedure that we followed in the past that we need to follow. We cannot just bypass it. Thank you. So that's a motion I have.
As chair, I would like us to take action on this motion tonight. So I'm going to beg and ask if you all we could extend the meeting. It is now 7:30, but I do not want to leave this room tonight with us having a decision on this particular motion. Is that okay with everyone? Okay.
Under Robert's rules of when one abstains, that's counted as a no under the new Robert's rules. And yes, it is.
Stay on topic. Let's start. Can we just, I believe we can do this in 15 minutes. Let's start all over. Sorry, Director Strong, if you could read the action item again. Starting all over. I need 15 minutes. I have to start all over. Start from the beginning.
Chair Nash, there's a motion. There was a motion that, so we see if there's a second due to Brown and Robert's Rules of Order. So there's a motion. We need to see if there's a second, and if there's a second, there's discussion, and if they would like to call the question again. So I would just ask to clarify what the motion is.
We will get from the bylaws subcommittee their new bylaws as modified for next meeting to vote on. Once we vote on it, we need maybe a couple of weeks to go back to the Board of Supervisors to have them approve it. And then we will be voting on the applications, not next meeting, the meeting after.
So Commissioner Corey has a motion on the table to expedite this process. We will convene the bylaw subcommittee in the next 2 weeks. I need to know when the next Board of Supervisor meeting is. We need to time this to get this on their agenda. When is the next Board of Supervisor meeting so we can get this on the agenda?
October 10th is the soonest that this could get on the Board of Supervisors agenda. We can't. We won't be able to make. November would be the soonest date.
November would be the soonest. So if we back that up, wow. Then the goal is to get it on the November 10th Board of Supervisor agenda for approval. So we'll create the timeline from now until then.
That's what I suggest.
Right, now until then, well, now until then, even if it requires an emergency meeting on our part to make sure these bylaws are approved, updated, approved, and voted on by the commission, and then forwarded on to the Board of Supervisors for approval by November 10th.
So, middle of October. That'd be fine to get a number.
This process.
We are meeting in October, right?
So there's a process for the Board of Supervisors meeting, of course, to docket board letters. The soonest meeting will be December, actually. Unless this group has a special meeting between now and the next meeting in October. So if you call a special meeting to get all this done prior to the meeting in November, that will be possible.
The Jewish community has made it very clear in their leadership that they support the appointment of Rabbi Marcus. So what I want to know is if this motion passes, that means that there will not be a vote at this meeting for Rabbi Marcus. Am I correct?
And just to clarify, the vote for Rabbi Marcus would not be at this meeting today.
All right. If we vote for Commissioner.
No, because the literal item of vote for rabbi is not on this agenda. We can't take a vote for the rabbi.
All right, I was informed, you informed me that it was on the agenda because of my agenda item 7. That's what you informed me as I asked you, was this nomination on this agenda? You said yes. And then I have your text, Chair, where you said, yes, it was on the agenda. So is this, this is the second time of this meeting that my nomination of Rabbi Marcus has not been put on the agenda. Is that what you're telling me? And then are you telling me that both of you have not told me the truth?
No, I'm not telling you that. My understanding was that it was, and I've been informed by council during this meeting that it's not, because we didn't specifically put that on the agenda.
And then why didn't you not inform me of that?
Well, we just learned about I'm just understanding this right now in this moment. So I apologize. And I know that's not doing much for the Jewish community at all. But there you go.
Am I recognized?
Let's hear from the.
I have to respectfully leave. I'm a student, I'm in school, and I'm midterms this week. Can we postpone this to a next meeting or call it another meeting? Is that possible?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. No,
We have
don't.
a motion on the floor. We're
Second.
not going to end this meeting without voting on this item. I am the chair. And
We
we're going to
acknowledge
vote
your
on
chair.
this.
so
Okay.
Everybody
All
that
right.
needs to leave,
All right.
then we lose quorum.
Okay.
You can leave now.
All right. So let's go over this again. The motion is on the floor. I want it to be voted on, so that we can take action and bring this issue to closure. I need a second.
I will second the motion because I would like to have some discussion about it. We've already voted to amend the bylaws. So no matter what anyone thinks, we're on that track. We voted, we're looking at the bylaws, and we're looking at the process specifically for bringing on new commissioners. If there are already applications in it, the right thing to do is to fix the process and then look at all of the applications together. That's the right and fair thing to do, no matter what individuals want to do right now, this minute. I'm sorry to say that and feel this way, but we need to make a decision and move on. And then we need to be called out to work to fix those bylaws, to get our commissioners on there. And I also want to discuss the ratio on this commission. Are we, in fact, everyone's discussion today has brought me to look at the commissioners to see, are we accurately representing the people in San Diego? And that's one of the things we need to do as a group, as well as look at the bylaws and have all these things in place. So I do second this motion. I hope we can vote on it and do what's right.
So, Chair and fellow commissioners, I would suggest, because we've already had that discussion before in the past, previous meetings, when we have these important topics that wind up turning into being heated discussion, that we have a parliamentarian present to deal with the issues of Robert's Rules of Order. And it would Chair, let me finish. With all due respect, we have county council here, and we have the director here. But we also, those of us that have been familiar with Robert's Rules of Order and running a meeting know that the issue of Robert Rules of Order is that
Commissioner
you have
Fowler,
yeses and nos, and the
we
extensions are not
a
counted as a no.
motion. Come on now, we have a motion on the floor and that we need to take a vote on tonight. And so let's stick with that motion on the floor. At least five more minutes. Commissioner Murray Maruris, and then we're going to take the vote. The individuals online need to hear you.
That also means that my resolution that this commission stand against homophobia and anti-Semitism, does that also cannot be voted on, or do we don't even have time to vote on it? This is a very important resolution. It also sends a strong message. How do I do it? Have the decision.
Yes, sir.
We have a motion on the floor that I would like us to take the vote on. Is there any further discussion? Is it clear? Is the motion clear enough? If it's not clear enough, we will repeat it again. Repeat the motion again. Commissioner Fowler. Please. I'm sorry, Commissioner Corey. Oh, I'm getting Commissioner Corey. Now, you're gonna have to have a mic to do this.
My voice is
No,
good
you
enough.
got it. We're online. Everyone knows we have
Okay.
to have a mic on. You have to have a mic on because we are online.
Okay,
Folks are watching us. Thank you.
The motion is knowing that we cannot be in front of the Board of Supervisors except in December or November, whatever staff decides or tell us, we need to meet. The subcommittee will bring in to this commissioners meeting next, even if we call for a special meeting to vote on whatever the subcommittee comes back with in order to get approval from the Board of Supervisors, and immediately after that, we can vote on the applications that we already have based on the process that the bylaws will have.
Yes.
Is that clear enough? Thank you.
Is that clear enough? Do I have a second? Okay, second. Any more discussion? All right. Let's call for the vote.
We'll call for the vote. Commissioner Cinnamon Clark.
Stay.
Commissioner Kate Clark. Commissioner Estela de los Rios. Commissioner Angela Elliott Santos.
Aye.
Commissioner Eleanor Evans.
No.
Commissioner Sarah Farouk. Commissioner Rodney Fowler. Commissioner Taha Hassan. Commissioner Dennis Hodges. He's on there. Commissioner Dean Ismail. Commissioner George Corey. Commissioner Cole Murray Ramirez. Chair Nash.
Aye.
Commissioner Fabian Perloff. Commissioner Gina Roberts. Commissioner Milan Shaw has left. And Commissioner David Vance. Madam Chair, that motion fails with 9 yeses, 2 abstentions. Five nays. And I've been informed by County Council that we should call the remaining speaker slips that were agendized for item number 7 for non-agenda public comment to allow them time to speak on this item. No, quorum does not change. So we'll call off the members of the public who wish to speak. This is agenda item number 7. That's correct. So, Madam Chair, you need to make a decision of whether you would like to table item number 7 or if you would like to pull item number 7. If you would like to talk about it, we could, your commission can speak to it. Or we could make a motion or make a determination to have the remaining public speakers speak on non-agenda public comment.
I would like to have our public speakers come forward. You took your time out of your busy schedule to be here, and I do not want to disrespect your time. So let's go with our public speakers.
So my understanding is you want to make a decision to pull item number 7 for public comment.
Chair, do you want them to comment on number 7, or do you want to pull item 7 and have it be heard next time? Right, they can speak on as non-agendized public comment. If you are going to table it till next time, then it's non-agendized and they can go ahead and speak. Okay, so if you want to motion. Yes.
What happened to agenda item number 7? I feel that we need to listen to that one tonight too. I don't want to table it. We have the 2 letters in front of us, and I believe we should address them. That's just my input.
Vice Chair De Los Rios wants to go ahead and proceed with discussion on agenda item 7. And we're going to begin having that discussion. And the motion is to create a working group to develop educational and dialogue opportunities regarding item number 7 on the July 18th, 2023 agenda. And that includes the letter from the Jewish community and the letter and resolution from Commissioner Nicole Murray Marrero. And we want to start with public comment.
Yasmin Kazim.
Hello, my name is Yasmin Qasim. I'm an artist, I'm a Muslim, I'm an Arab, and I'm a member of the LGBTQ+ community. Complicated, yes, but important to my identity and experience, and I'm proud and embrace all the layers of my identity. That being said, I think that whatever the commission discusses needs to consider all people's complicated layers. Queer people have existed. We always have. We always will, everywhere in the world throughout all history. And we will continue to do so. We deserve the same amounts of peace and safety as all communities. We deserve to thrive like all communities. Unfortunately, pinkwashing has been used to distort against Arabs and Arab Americans. I stand against that, and it should not be used to silence the voices of Palestinians and their dire suffering, as queer Palestinians are included in that experience as well. Any resolutions added to the committee should be more inclusive and aim to address intersectionality as a whole. I implore for the committee to consider individuals like me who have unique experiences, perspectives, and relationships with the different communities that we occupy, and that unfortunately this resolution may work in muffling voices from my small yet vulnerable community. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and I'll call a few speakers at one time, so if you would line up on the wall there, I would appreciate it. We're actually in public comment at the moment. This is non-agenda item public comment. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. We pulled number 7 to discuss, so the public will speak and then the commission will be able to discuss. Avital Booty Lopez. Devereaux Marcus. Barrett Holman Leak.
Hello, my name is Avital Aboudi Lopez. I'm a queer Jewish American Israeli. I spent 2 years studying and volunteering and working in Israel, Palestine, and I live now in the Golden Hill neighborhood with my wife and 5-year-old son who's over there. And my son was actually in attendance at the Temple Emmanuel preschool this summer when the anti-Semitic leafleting occurred. And I am also one of 443,421 members and supporters of Jewish Voice for Peace, which is the largest progressive Jewish and anti-Zionist organization in the world. And I'm a founding member of the Jewish Voice for Peace San Diego chapter, which has been active for the last decade. And I share this to remind you that the Jewish people are diverse racially and politically, and also to make clear that Judaism is not synonymous with Zionism. I'm here to express my strong concerns about the rise of anti-Semitic and anti-LGBTQ incidents in San Diego and encourage adoption of the HRC resolution. However, there are a few phrases in the proposed resolution that I believe must be deleted in order to ensure that the resolution does not falsely equate anti-Semitism with criticism of Israel. First, the description of Jews as, quote, bound by a spiritual and indigenous attachment to the historic land of Israel, the modern state of Israel, and the Jewish people as a whole, end quote, is extremely problematic. Jewish people hold many different relationships to both the land and the modern state, and there are many Jewish people that do not have any attachment to either. I also advocate for removing the reference to anti-Israel harassment from the statement. Equating criticism of Israel to anti-Semitism has been consistently struck down by the courts, and a 2021 poll conducted by the Jewish Electoral Institute demonstrated that a majority of American Jews do not believe that criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic. Zionism is a 19th century political ideology that many Jews have come to see as a false and failed answer to the question of how to protect Jewish lives from anti-Semitism. Zionism has actually harmed Jewish people as it has taught us to treat our neighbors with suspicion and forget the ways that Jews have built home and communities over the centuries wherever we found ourselves to be. It teaches us fear and that the best response is a bigger gun, a taller wall, and a more humiliating checkpoint. Members of Jewish Voice for Peace believe in safety through solidarity. The violent anti-Semitism that's on the rise today is fueled by white nationalism, not anti-Zionism. We must be careful not to let our justified outrage get hijacked by those who are looking for a way to defend Israel and deny Palestinian narratives. I commend the HRC for addressing anti-Semitism, but it should not do so by shutting down the voices of those who seek justice in Israel-Palestine. Thank you. And I have a copy of my remarks for all of you, actually.
My name is Barrett Holman Leak. I am a member of Temple Emmanuel San Diego. And yes, you can't look at me and say, oh, she's Jewish, but I am. There are many Jews of color. There is such a diversity among we Jews. And this committee has really disappointed me as a San Diego resident in the way that it has conducted itself. It is anti-Semitic, the entire process that went on here this evening. And to repeatedly make Rabbi Devorah Marcus go through this process, to repeatedly have Nicole Ramirez go through this process is anti-Semitic. This is the way that we were forced as African Americans to fight tooth and nail to be able to vote in this country. Counting jelly beans in a jar could we pass a particular test. The things that are going on in this commission, you need to look at yourselves. You need to include Jews on this committee. It is plain, it is clear, it is not a question. And those of you who are non-white Europeans need to ask yourself, what is it that got you where you are here today? It is Jews and Blacks fighting together in the United States of America to get the vote and to get more equality, because we don't have full equality in the United States of America. That's why you can sit here as a Muslim. That's why you can sit here as any religion. But for this committee, it seems not if you're a Jew. And let me tell you that I also want you to be very clear that in this city, it is the Jewish community that created safe parking so the homeless sleeping in their cars didn't have to live in fear. It is the Jewish community, because I volunteer there every single week, that is feeding hungry people in San Diego.
Thank you for your comments.
Take that into consideration.
As the next speaker is coming, I'll call the next three. Larry Christian, Jamal Kanji, Elise Pipkin Allen.
I am the infamous Rabbi Devorah Marcus in question. And I am here tonight. First of all, thank you, Nicole Marie Ramirez, for being a true faithful friend and ally. I'm here tonight not asking for special treatment or favor. I'm here tonight because I have been asked by the normative progressive Jewish community represented by the synagogues who are members of the San Diego Rabbinic Association, that is our Reform, Conservative, and Reconstructionist congregations representing thousands and thousands and thousands of Jews in the normative, active Jewish community, to be here and to be a voice of the religiously active, engaged Jewish community. This may or may not be the forum to talk about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It is the forum to talk about how we, as people who feel passionately about these issues, can build better relationships with each other as San Diegans who have shared pain and shared history in a place that we all love and care about so much. I have many Palestinian friends who I care about, and I too grieve watching the suffering of all of our people in our shared homeland. But we are not going to affect positive change by slinging insults, hurts, and harms at each other, by ignoring each other's narratives, and by denying each other's history. This is why I would like to be a part of this commission, is to have a seat at the table with everyone here in this fine community, to sit amongst these esteemed and illustrious leaders, and to create dialogue where we work on the shared vision of how we can create a better San Diego for all of our children so that we can lift them up together and raise a kinder, more compassionate community to be the kind of leading example of what it means to come together, work together, and build bridges and not walls. And that's all we're asking for. I didn't come in asking for special favor or election. I came in to be a partner in the difficult work of leadership, in the difficult work of dialogue, and the difficult work of partnership. And so that's why I'm here. It's not like I was looking to add another thing to my already busy calendar, but this is sacred and important work. And so it's very much my hope that I will be invited to sit at the table. It is very much the Jewish community's hope that I will be invited to sit at the table. And I cannot tell you the heartbreak that we are experiencing at the idea of this can being kicked down the road, because the absence of us not being at the table has been enormously felt as a disinvitation to participation. And it is essential.
Thank you, Rabbi.
My name is Larry Christian. I am president of a local nonprofit named Karama, the Arabic word for dignity, that has been active in the San Diego community on issues of the Arab and Islamic world for many years. Karama wants to support and cooperate with the working group that is the subject of the motion being considered under this agenda item and offers to participate in the educational opportunities to be developed by the working group. I also want to say that I was quite surprised that tonight's agenda as published online references letters and proposed resolution criticizing comments made by Commissioner Khoury and elevating those criticisms to the level of a resolution while completely ignoring letters to the commission signed by organizations from the Arab and Muslim community, letters that addressed the historical accuracy of Commissioner Khoury's remarks, as well as the central role that dispossession of Palestinians from their homes and land plays in the identity of Palestinian Americans and of Arab Americans more generally. An ordinary observer would not even guess that the motion on the floor resulted directly from overwhelming support for Commissioner Khoury voiced by the public as well as by his fellow commissioners. Instead, the agenda references letters and a resolution that presupposes the outcome of the proposed working group's efforts by promulgating positions that promote pro-Israel partisanship and deny by omission the legitimacy of Palestinians' lived experience. This at a time when there are almost daily reports of Palestinians being killed, villages attacked, homes demolished or stolen, and land being commandeered for unlawful settlements. It is entirely inappropriate to consider the resolution offered by Commissioner Maria Ramirez prior to the working group completing its work. The chair should either rule the proposed resolution out of order or table it until the working group and the processes are completed. Thank you.
Thank you. And as the next member is coming forward, I'll call the next members of the public. Andrea Beth Dabsky, Marie Rafferty, and Bruce Abral.
Thank you. My name is Jamal Ganj. I appeal to you to reject the resolution under item number 7. The proposed resolution conflates Jewish values with an entity that has been accused of practicing apartheid against Palestinians by 2 major international human rights organizations and a prominent Israeli rights organization.
Let's pause the meeting. Let's pause the meeting. Can you clarify your comments? They seem.
The proposed resolution conflates Jewish values with an entity that has been accused of practicing apartheid against Palestinians by 2 major international human rights organizations, Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch. And also, by the way, a prominent—
It's not on the agenda. Let's pause that. I'm having problems with what he's saying. Are they within the spirit of promoting positive human relations?
This is in response to a resolution for the human relation. I am saying that resolution.
No, we don't need totally out of order. Totally out of order. We don't need another resolution. So let's go to the next.
There is a resolution on item number 7. I am talking about that resolution that conflates Jewish values with an entity that practices apartheid. I'm telling you not to vote for it.
Excuse me, sir. The resolution, if you're going to speak to the specific resolution on the agenda, you have to speak to the agenda item on the resolution and not outside factors that impact that resolution.
I am talking about item number 7. And it is about, well, okay, let me give you an example from that resolution. It said anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic, and anti-Israeli harassment. If I accuse Israel of practicing apartheid against Palestinians, I'm not accusing it actually. Human rights organizations are doing that. Amnesty International is doing that. Human Rights Watch is doing that. A prominent Israeli human rights organization is doing that. I am not saying, I'm just quoting them. I haven't even started.
Sir, sorry. We paused the time as we were giving them feedback. It was 2 minutes ago. 2 minutes. It's still going. It's almost up.
Almost up.
Thank you.
In fact, equating a nation's policies where practices of apartheid were documented with Jewish values can fuel hatred and foster anti-Semitism, not fight it.
Sir, your comments are done. Thank you. Next. Thank you, sir.
Is this still working? Yes, it is. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Shana Tova to those of you who are celebrating the Jewish New Year. Happy Latinx and Hispanic Heritage Month to people of that community. If I missed any celebrations I'm unaware of, please know I celebrate you with you. My name is Andrea Beth Damsky. I'm a member of the California Commission on the State of Hate, which is tasked with making recommendations to our legislature for reducing hate in California. I'm speaking today as a member of two communities, the LGBTQ+ community and the Jewish community. I have been tracking hate comments made in this commission during this past year towards both of these communities, and I have seen the outrage and disappointment in each community in reaction to lack of proper response here. We have also witnessed the resignation of two law enforcement officials appointed to this commission on the basis that they serve everyone and could not be associated with an organization which promotes or allows hate towards anyone. Saturday, I was blessed and inspired to hear Commissioner Nicole Murray Ramirez speak as an ally to the Jewish community as guest speaker for Rosh Hashanah services at Temple Emmanuel. His speech was a superb example of what intersectional allyship and true human relations can look like. I speak in support of three things: Commissioner Murray Ramirez's resolution, his recommendation for the second time that Rabbi Devorah Marcus be appointed to this commission as soon as possible, and fulfilling the actions requested. Oops, lost my thing. Requested by the San Diego community, Jewish community. Additionally, I support the items considered today in Agenda 6, which may be moot at this point. I urge you to do all of these things for the betterment and benefit of our community. We Jewish people say that Rosh Hashanah begins a period of atoning for misdeeds, and I can think of no better way for this commission to correct its path than to approve these recommendations. I would add one further request: that leaders of this commission engage in training and strategizing for preventing and properly addressing hate comments when they occur during meetings. Thank you.
Commissioners, my name is Marie Raftery. I am a board member of the Anti-Defamation League, a board member at Jewish Family Service, and a temple member at Temple Emmanuel. Rabbi Devorah is my rabbi. I also share in the support of agenda item number 7 and urge the commission to schedule a vote for the appointment of Rabbi Devorah and adopt the resolution against anti-Semitism in solidarity with the Jewish community. Since vile hate speech vilifying the Jewish religion was shared at the last HRC meeting, a rabbi's presence on the commission is needed now more than ever and would complement the other interfaith clergy members. The other organization to which I belong is the Rotary Club number 33, Leon Williams Club. We recently celebrated his 100th birthday. I know the commissioners are aware of Leon Williams and what his life has meant. I find it a little ironic that this is what we're talking about in a club, in an organization that contains his name. Also, in the past, we've heard that some comments that were made by the commissioners were just, I didn't know, I didn't realize, I didn't know, demonstrating very little knowledge and, in fact, ignorance of the Jewish faith. You have an opportunity with Rabbi Devorah, who, I don't call her a preacher, I call her a teacher. And you'd have the opportunity to not have that to fall back on. You'd learn, you'd be educated as commissioners in this work should be. It's an opportunity. It's a well-needed, obviously very well-needed opportunity. I strongly suggest and would greatly support that you take that opportunity. Commissioner Ramirez was so effective, as we said, at services. We don't usually applaud at services, but we applauded him for his kindness, his community, his caring. And I ask that you do the same. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bruce Abrams again, and I knew Leon Williams. I worked with him. Okay, so let's talk about some issues tonight. One, you're all a political appointees. You weren't reviewed, your resumes weren't up for review, so the comments at the meeting seemed inappropriate. The other is the Brown Act. You posted this agenda. This agenda was made public that it was going to be discussed. And it's showing here both of these comments are listed that you're going to have with Commissioner Ramirez's paperwork is going to be discussed. A letter from the Jewish community and a letter and resolution by Nicole Marie Ramirez. If the Brown Act was posted within the period of time, it has to be discussed during public comment. The other part, I served for 11 years on the Interfaith Committee for Worker Justice. I've got the white hair to prove it. That's where I met the imam. I've been to his mosque. He's been to my home. We never would have met if it wasn't for the Interfaith Committee for Worker Justice. The idea of this commission not having another religious representative to help to not only educate, but to encourage dialogue is so crucial right now. During my time at when I was chair of the HRC, the Sikh community was attacked. We went there to help them. We went to their temple. During that time, the Black churches were being burnt. Obama was president and they were burning up the South, one church after another. We did what we could do. You carry the water of others. Please bring the rabbi to your commission and think about that you are working together to stop hate and stop intolerance. Thank you.
Chair, that concludes public comment on this item.
I want to thank the public for their compelling comments tonight. I want to thank the public for their comments tonight. And before this meeting ends, as chair, I would like to call an emergency meeting to discuss the process that we want to put in place. We have 3 Human Relation Commission vacancies, and we have the opportunity to fill those positions. And so I would like to call an emergency meeting sooner than later, get it on the calendar as sooner than later, and we will identify a process to fill those 3 commissioner seats. I will pull out the old process that we used to fill the Human Relations Commission seats, and we will proceed. And this is my comment. I'm going to take 2 more comments. It's been a long night, and I'm going to start with my vice chair, Eleanor Evans, and then Commissioner Murray Ramirez. Is there anyone else that has any comments?
This has been the most exasperating meeting I've been to in a very long time. The agenda, as I said before, needs to be itemized. You know, you don't use bullets. And the fact that listening to the speakers in this room and in public is evident that the quality of positive leadership It's not here for the commission. You know, we need to build, regain, rebuild, whatever it needs to obtain the social trust of the public. We don't have it. Simple as that. Therefore, I'm going to make a motion. I'm going to make a motion of a vote of no confidence for our chair, Ellen Nash, at this point. And I'd like a second.
Vice Chair Evans, that is not an agenda item, so you can't make a motion on that.
I believe in the letter that was written by by Commissioner Murray, the statement in terms of requesting that that Chair Nash should step down as chair, as she has definitely lost the confidence and support of countless people. And I say that respectfully. This is an issue of leadership that we really cannot quash or, ignore or put aside. I think you're a wonderful person, but I don't think this is the fit in terms of leadership. I'd like for you to continue on with the commission, but we've just got so much stuff that's so unnecessary. And this agenda epitomizes that. Thank you.
Vice Chair Evans, we're on agenda item number 7, so we have to, the commissioners need to speak towards that topic, that agenda item, and then make any motions associated with it.
I'm sorry, would you please repeat that?
Madam Vice Chair, that is not on the agenda. That is not an agenda item for discussion. Similar to the letters, and we're in the middle of item 7, so the commission needs to discuss and take a vote on the motion that is on the agenda.
You're saying the letter and resolutions from Nicole Murray?
Those are for discussion only.
Well, then
I'm going to try to be calm, and I do apologize for, I think it's my Latino emotions. But you, the executive director, and you, Madam Chair, I have the text, and I believe you won't lie, told me today that these 2 items would be on the agenda. Am I correct?
You're correct. I did tell you that, and that was, yeah, I did tell you that, and I thought they were able to be voted upon. I had a misunderstanding of that, and there's nothing I can do to apologize.
While I apologize, and let me get myself together, this is totally unbelievable. That I have spent months trying to get these items focused on and voted, been guaranteed, and now, well, something's come up and it's not going to happen. All I've got to say is, I know one thing. I'm Latino. My Latino community was not attacked. I'm Catholic and Christian. It has not been attacked with a hate speech on this commission. I know the African-American community was not attacked by commissioners. I do know one thing, that the Jewish community and the LGBT community were both attacked. And the answer today, and you've gotten my letters and resolution, is we're going to postpone this discussion and action item. That is the message you are sending to the LGBT community, and you are sending to the Jewish community, period. No matter what you postpone and do, that's the message they're getting, that I'm getting as a gay man.
Any other comments?
I would like a clarification of what's going on.
I would too.
I usually keep up with this pretty well, but I've now heard that we have a motion we can't vote on. I've made a motion to adjourn. We have all sorts of things on the table, and it's late. I think we need to step back and Make things happen, guys.
I made the recommendation that we call an emergency meeting. And we, excuse me? No, oh, I know. I'm just saying I would like to ask that we consider an emergency meeting to take up these agenda items and act on them appropriately. It's my commitment as chair of the commission is that we would do things fairly. With regard to the rabbi being considered, we do have applications from other individuals. We do have 3 vacancies. And my recommendation is that we go ahead and proceed with filling those seats. Absolutely, through the former process, the current process that we've been using to fill those human relation commission appointments. So I will call another meeting.
There's no motion, but I do want to clarify that there is a motion on the agenda, right? Motion to create a working group to develop educational and dialogue opportunities regarding item number 7. And I would ask if there is a motion that somebody will want to put on the table.
Make my motion again. I make my motion again. There's no motion.
Okay. But we don't have a motion.
Does that working group would talk about all these things that we just discussed? Or what working group is on there?
The working group is to discuss proposed actions that came from item number 7 on the last meeting's agenda. So to discuss education opportunities, to discuss opportunities of dialogue and those types of opportunities.
I would like to make that motion that we form that working group after hearing all of the input from the public. Even I want to say I appreciate Nicole for putting forth a resolution, but the whole commission should get to discuss that, especially after comments from the people regarding that resolution. But I think we should at least have a working group to discuss all of these things because we have real actions that we need to work on. So special meeting and all of these things on the agenda, and let's just vote on them and get it taken care of. So motion to form the working group and schedule a meeting.
Angelo?
We do. We have quorum. We have 11 members. Quorum is 11.
Angelo? Angelo?
Yes.
Yeah, my understanding to the working group. My understanding to the working group, since we talked about it, when this whole conversation started, is to have a committee working on bringing about education to the commissioners about the sensitive issues that exist.
Yes.
So, I mean, we talked about it, and if it requires a vote, let's go vote on it. And we would like to have few members of this commission coming together and putting a curriculum or putting, sessions and then bringing back here to the commission.
Thank you.
We have to end the meeting due to lost quorum.
We lost quorum. Have to end the meeting. I will call a special meeting as soon as possible. Thank you.